Well, good. We are on a journey here and we're learning things. I'm learning things, you're learning things, and we're walking a journey together. And it's important then sometimes when you're walking a journey together to actually always reflect on this tool that I'm going to share here. And for me, this tool was an eye-opener, and it's called the expectation scale. Expectation scale. Many times when we are walking a journey, even ourselves, we have expectations about ourselves. You expect yourself to do X, Y, Z. You expect that you should be able to do this. You expect that you should be able to achieve this by this time. You expect that you should be able to do X, Y, Z. Or you're walking a journey with people and you have expectations with people. And in many cases, unmet expectations leads to disappointment, which leads to frustrations, which might lead to defining a new normal. And then you start saying, I don't think I can achieve anything. I don't think I can do much. Me, I'm always just like this. Or I don't think this person can help me in my journey. Because then you've defined a new normal. Because really, there's an issue with expectation management here. And of course, in most cases, some people might say, define the relationship. And someone talk to you about this, some people call it DTR. Define the relationship. What they're trying to say is, can you talk about the expectations from each other? And whether it's a marriage, whether it's a financial journey, whether it is your work, what are the expectations in that space? And so we have this tool, to call it the expectation scale. And in this tool, really, there are 5 things when you think about expectation. So you can have resigned expectation, you can have limited expectation, you can have realistic expectation, you can have unrealistic expectation, or you can have impossible expectations. And it's important to ask yourself, are my expectations realistic of myself? When I'm talking of myself, when I'm talking of my personal growth journey, are my expectations realistic? When I'm sitting down and planning for my day, are my expectations realistic? When I'm going into a meeting with someone, are my expectations realistic? When I'm putting together an event and I'm inviting people for that event, are my expectations realistic? Or are they resigned? Or are they limited? Or are they unrealistic? And sometimes you've seen people put together things and they have unrealistic expectation. You're walking into a meeting and you're having unrealistic expectation of the person you're going to meet. And then you're going to meet them because, hey, let's meet tomorrow at 2 p.m. and come with this proposal. And then all of a sudden for you, you're expecting, they asked me to come with a proposal. Maybe they're going to give me the money. And so you go and guys, this is when we are getting this money. It's coming. And so you're coming in and your expectation is unrealistic. Because really all the person says, come along with that proposal. They did not clearly tell you, I'm going to write you a check. And so you're coming into this meeting with unrealistic expectation. Or maybe let's talk of relationships. You're probably dating this person. And your expectation of them is very unrealistic. Or you're in a marriage with this person. And the expectation of them is very unrealistic. Or it's even impossible that they'll be able to meet those expectations. But again, you also don't want to have resigned expectations. Like, I don't think they'll give me anything. I don't want to walk in with any expectation. Honestly, some people say, I don't expect anything, just come. No, I think that for me is a statement I have issues with. When someone says, don't have any expectations, just come. No, I probably will not come. Because honestly, when I'm committing to a journey, I need to have some realistic expectation of what even is expected of me. What do you expect of me? You expect of me to show up and you expect of me to engage in the conversation. You expect of me to ask questions. And so when you are dealing with someone else, so what do you expect of me? I say, you just show up. Yeah, I'll have issues with that. Just say, okay, so what I expect of you is you come, and when you come, I want you to be able to keep time. So keep time. I expect you to keep time. 2, I expect you to come prepared to really engage in this conversation, because the conversation, the ultimate objective of our meeting is that we can be able to strike a deal or sign an MOU or make an ask or have a deliberation, brainstorming session. And so you're being invited into a brainstorming session. So the expectation is come in and brainstorm. So come in and hear what is on the table, add in your ideas, speak into what is on the table, dissect what is on the table, bring in your ideas onto the table. So I expect you to listen to the idea being presented, and then I expect you to engage with this idea. That's my expectation of you. And so when you come in ready to engage with the conversation on the table. And so when you show up and then you're not probably delivering on what is expected of you, you're not meeting that expectation. It's probably going to disappoint someone. So as we engage in this conversation, as you engage with people, as you're in a relationship with someone, it is very important to always ask yourself, what are the expectations? Now, sometimes yourself, it might be very realistic expectation to you. But to the person you're engaging, it might be unrealistic of them. They're like, you expect me to? So they're living wondering, oh my God, this person expects me to deliver on this project by tomorrow. Now for you, because you've probably done this over and over and over, it's realistic for you that that is possible to be done. But to the other person, they're leaving that meeting wondering, how on earth is this person expecting me to do this thing? And so they go feeling discouraged. They go feeling like you are unreasonable. They go feeling like you are the worst person ever, because they're like, how does this person expect me to show up in that meeting tomorrow at 8 when they know very well that I'm going to sleep very late today because of the assignment they've given me? And so that is why that conversation is very important, to even ask the person, is this realistic for you? And let them give you their point of view and say, hey, I think expecting me to come tomorrow at 8 or expecting me to write that document and send it tomorrow by 5 is unrealistic, because you remember last week you gave me this and you told me the deadline is today, and then. So it's unrealistic that you'd expect me to do X, Y, Z by this time. Engage in that conversation. But also, as they're speaking up, you as the person who's engaging them, try to figure out if maybe someone is just not pulling themselves up here, and then sometimes call them up to something and say, hey, but you committed to X, Y, Z. And so I think even your priorities, let's revisit your priorities, because I know what I'm telling you and I know what I'm asking you is possible. So is realistic what I'm asking you to do. So let's talk about your priorities here. What exactly is making you feel like this is unrealistic? And say, okay, how about this? How about this? How about this? And then together, okay. So if maybe you then are able to make a few adjustments, then I can realistically do this as you have said. Now, there can be a case where, because of your own journeys with people, you are also resigned. You're telling someone, but you're not really calling them up enough to operate at the level where they need to operate. And every time they're feeling like, this guy, when he thinks we can't deliver, he thinks we can't do the work, because he keeps giving us this thing and he keeps like giving us little assignments here and there. He's not really calling us up to the big assignments that we need to be offering. He's not telling us to rise up to the occasion. Maybe he doesn't trust us enough. And I've worked with people who sometimes, some of them ask me, Gabriel, why do you keep not always giving us the assignments that we need to do? And for me, in my head, they're feeling like, I don't want to bother them. Maybe they're busy. But probably they are waiting for those heavy assignments to deal with. And so when you're not throwing them onto the deep end, they're like, is it because you don't trust us? That's why you're not giving us the heavy assignment? And maybe sometimes I'm operating from a place where I have limited expectation, or I have resigned expectation of the people I'm working with. And so, look at this tool and ask yourself, what are the spaces or the times that you have operated from resigned expectations or limited expectations, or you have operated from unrealistic expectations or impossible expectation when it comes to self or when it comes to the people you're working with? And is there anything you need to revisit? Especially if you're working with others. If you're leading a team, do you need to have a conversation with them around this tool of expectation scale? And whenever you're giving an assignment, whenever you are giving an action point, do you always say, okay guys, let's revisit the expectation scale on this. Okay, so is it realistic for you? Or is this unrealistic or resigned? And they might tell you, I think this is realistic, or I think this is unrealistic for us. What you're asking us to do is not possible. It's not possible. Then talk about it. Or I think this is we need more. We need more. We need to chew more. And so it's important to review that. And so I hope this is a tool you can use, whether when you're dealing with yourself, or when you're dealing with your people, or when you're dealing with your family, you're dealing with your children. Are your expectations of your children unrealistic, or are they realistic? Are you comparing your children with your neighbor's children and you're pushing them hard? Or are you resigned, you've given up on your children? What are your expectations of others? Kindly interact with the expectation scale, and let me hope that this can help you be able to manage your expectation, but also manage others' expectation. Thank you very much, and I pray that this helps you in your journey. Thank you.